Hey rail fans, Train Guy here, and it's day one of Southeastern High Speed. And if you're watching this later on, I will not beat about the bush. It's brilliant so far. Really loved it. What little I've played of it, and we're going to have a little look at the Javelin first of all. We'll take a run from St Pancras to Faversham, and then we'll hop over onto the 375 because I haven't actually driven that yet. I've done a couple of runs in the Javelin just to find my feet with it a little bit. Found a few things out about it. Highly enjoyable so far. So let's just get wired in about it. So I have done a couple of services, as I say, just to find my feet a little bit. And we're going to do this one because I found something quite cool on this one on the way out, which was quite nice. So we start at St Pancras on the high speed lines, where we'll be using the French TVM KVB systems. We go as far as Ebbsfleet. We then switch over to the classic lines, where we go from 25,000 volt overheads to 750 volt third rails. And boy, you notice the difference when you change over onto those. Still fantastic though. Can this be played on PC? From about 6:30 it can, I think. Yeah, it comes out on Steam later on Red Train 09. Console users tend to get it a bit earlier because the stores generally update their new releases at midnight on the button for Microsoft and Sony. So, appropriate getting the TGV loading screen there, because the high-speed 1 system is essentially an extension of TGV for all practical purposes. So, take this service originating from St Pancras International to Faversham. So this is just a 6-car set. You will get 6 cars and 12 cars, and worth noting the difference because the 12 car is a very snug fit on a lot of platforms. So we're going to quickly go through the startup procedure, which I've got scribbled down next to me. So the first thing we need to do, put your master key in and set the reverser to neutral. You'll hear all the noises going off. Now we're on the the high speed lines to begin with, so we want to press this button, CTRL, hold it for 2 seconds, and then press the pan up, shoes down button once. You'll see that yellow light there went out, and you press it a second time just to get the circuit breakers down. And we want to also open up the doors on the right there. So let's just do the lights while we're there. And if we stand up, this little cabinet behind us here has the KVB and the TVM breakers, and on this side is the more familiar stuff maybe for a lot of people, the DSD and the AWS. So all the fun stoppers are now turned on. We've got about 45 seconds to departure. Everything is now set up. Let's have a quick look outside. So yeah, the passenger information boards, we'll have a wee look at those in a bit more detail further up the line. We need to get ready to depart though. Only takes about 4 or 5 seconds for these doors to shut, so you don't need to be way ahead of them. Let's just get this closed up. Now I'm just going to bring the speedometer up here. You'll notice it's in kilometers an hour at the moment, and the initial speed when you're leaving St Pancras is 40. Forgot to put my reverser back into forward before. Oopsies. Alexander Cochran, hello mate. Welcome to the stream. It's actually not that complicated, the startup. If you do the Javelin introduction activity at the when you get the thing, first of all, it takes you through it. I scribbled them all down on a piece of paper and I haven't had any problems. So 40 kilometers an hour, and we will be in miles later on. Don't worry about it. It switches automatically if you've got the game set up that way. Do not exceed 40 because KVB will kick your ass. And remember and allow yourself, let the whole train get into the next speed zone. So there's a 60 coming up. You'll see some of the signposts here. They're reversed. They're white on black instead of the usual black on white. That's to let the driver know that's in kilometers per hour as opposed to miles. So for the single car set, we can start accelerating around here. If you've got a two car, you want to wait a little bit because KVB will really punish you. So up to 60. Keeping an eye on the signals as well. And we can go up to 80 very shortly. TVM's about to come on. Once we pass these signals, TVM comes on. Here we go. Hi Terry, yes I did mate. Stayed up for it. Oh, don't want to go too fast. Happily, TVM kicked over to 200 just as I reached that speed. Now, this is one of the tiny little irritating things with this, and I'll just get them out the way now. They're not game breakers. The light level in the cab is a bit squiffy in the tunnels. It's out of sync slightly in a couple of tunnels. It sets itself back pretty quickly though. It's not game braking. Not even sure it's immersion braking. More sort of just. And also the brake gauges have no backlights. That is also something. I think there's a patch coming in the next couple of days to fix wee things like that. So there's a couple of little things with it. I'll get those out the way straight off. But what I've played of it so far, I've absolutely loved. But coming back to Terry's question, yes, I did stay up for it. I did one run last night. I was so tired I could barely keep my eyes open. Here you go, you get AWS kicking in. So even though we're on the what you could call the French bit of the line, we still get AWS. So yeah, one run last night, which was so tired by that point. I got nothing use from it. So TVM has started to flash. That's telling us get ready to slow down. And the steps on this TVM, they're a bit different to the TGV. Slightly different numbers because of the slightly different speed restrictions. So it goes down 200, 160, 100, then 80. So now it's 200, it's flashing, so I need to slow down even further. Let's get down to 160. It's supposed to be by the next flag that you pass. And if it comes on, if 160 is flashing, we'll reduce to 100. When you're going into Ebbsfleet, it drops from 160 to 130. I'm not sure how you differentiate between what one it's going to drop to. I think that's just a sort of a driver's knowledge and situational awareness thing. Because we get 100, but we are about to stop anyway. So I've not quite figured that out, but it's 100 for Stratford, it's 130 for Ebbsfleet. Yeah, it is. These things are kind of like Christmas Eve, man. Especially one like this. We've not had a really full British route since. Because when you think about it, we've had two underground routes essentially. We've had Isle of Wight, which was great, but wasn't anything like on this scale or size. And Bakerloo again was great, but you know. it is kind of almost a niche thing, the underground. And I love the underground to bit, but this is the first proper overground that we've had for the UK since East Coastway, maybe? It's confusing because the speedos in kilometres and the distances are still all in yards. I think we want to roll up to the... We can stop here because we're just a 6 car, but if you're in a 12 car, you have to go up to the markers or the back end will be hanging off. And what I usually do as well is just put my minimum brake back at this point because it takes a few moments for the brakes to release. So here's the information sign. At the moment we're on time. If you start to slip behind, it will actually show you the projected time as opposed to the timetable time. It's really good. Tells you the stops. So we're going to go through quite a few stations. We don't stop everywhere. The 375s stop at more of them. We've got the train operator and stuff like that, which is cool. It'd be really cool one day if they could get mixed licenses, and I know this is highly unlikely because of the expense, but imagine seeing like Southeastern and then Southern and then I don't know who all the operators are down there, to be honest with you, but that's why you see the operator name, because in reality there's different operators on these lines. But I think pretty much all the actual Southeastern services are in. I believe they're using AI services to pad it out as well a bit. So it's 100 kilometres initially, and then we'll be straight up to full whack. I really like this. This is such a cool train to drive. Quite punchy on the TGV line, on the HS1, sorry, section. 25,000 volts will do that for you though. The problem is when you switch to the 750 volt third rail, because of course the downside of a bi-mode train, even an electric one, is that any one time half of the running gear is just dead weight. And I bet you if you took all the electrical gear not in use at any one time, piled it all up in one place, you'd end up with something about the same weight as a pretty big hefty diesel engine. So it's not a criticism of the train. It is what it is. It's an interesting train to drive though, because there's such a difference between how it handles at this point and how it's going to drive when we switch to the DC. It's almost like two different trains. Steam, yeah, Steam will be good. Looking forward to that. Hoping I'll be on PS5 by then, if I'm being honest. So that's AWS, that's DSD rather, kicking in, not AWS, sorry, I said AWS earlier as well. So yeah, we're on the French signalling system, but still on the British vigilant system. Hi Alexander Cochrane, welcome. It's very smooth in the tunnels. I've got to be honest, I've not had any major pop-in from trains appearing next to me. I think there's maybe some on the horizon that I tend not to notice. No massive frame rate drops or anything like that, even when there's 3 or 4 trains in the immediate vicinity. I'm very impressed with it so far, I have to say. And I bet you on PC and PS5 it's a doozy. I mean, I'm at the point now with the PS4 where I kind of I accept the fact that on a cross-platform game, we're kidding a bit if we think we're getting the full PC experience. Yeah, it's like back in the day wondering why your ZX Spectrum couldn't run games as good as your mate's Amiga, frankly, at this point. Hey Dep, good to see you, man. Been a while. Hope you're okay. Don't remember what the name of this tunnel is, but it's the longest one in the game. I think this is the one that takes us under the Thames. I'm afraid my geography of the southeast is absolutely balls, and I'm fairly sure that at least some of you watching, whether now or later on, will know this route or part of it. Personally, I'm always interested to hear how it stacks up against the real thing. I think that would be exactly what they would do, Terry. A Steam-related DLC for a heritage route. That would actually be a really sensible thing to do. I'm saying I think the same thing. It had never occurred to me until you said it, but I agree entirely. That would be a brilliant way for them to introduce it. Watching the replays. So coming up on Ebbsfleet, where we'll change over to being an old-fashioned train. So we're doing about 140 miles an hour, give or take, at the moment. We are the fastest train in the United Kingdom. The fastest domestic train in the United Kingdom. So that bridge, I don't know if you noticed there, I have noticed blurry textures occasionally. That bridge, it stands out, I think, because it's black texture on white background. But I think there's a lot of wee tricks going on. They've done a lot of optimization to get the speed up. They finally realised, or not finally realised, they finally achieved the consistency over quality sort of thing, or at least they're getting ever closer towards it. My understanding is, as well, is that when they took on this new version of Unreal Engine, there's absolutely tons of stuff in the engine that the game doesn't actually need, so they're gradually removing lots of things. I mean, this, considering how much stuff's going on at the side of the track and what have you, that is pretty buttery. I've just realised I've not done much out of camera, out of train stuff yet. Problem is, it's quite difficult to do that on the high speed because it's in-cab signalling. Check at the beginning, actually. Nope, we didn't get the trainbow this time. I've not seen it yet. I saw somebody else did a stream where they had it. God knows how many times they must have had to sit there and restart their game to get it. See, it even manages to stay fairly smooth when there's trains going by and things. That's generally where they stop and stutter a wee bit. I recognise that bridge, I don't know the name of it. I've seen pictures of it. Oh, that's TVM telling me. Is that the Dartford crossing by any chance? So TVM's wanting me to start slowing down, so it'll be down to 200 first of all. We're going downhill a lot of the way here as well, so be pretty heavy-handed with it if you have to be. 200 flashing telling us to slow down, so we'll reduce to 160. I love the HS1 section, man. Absolutely love it. It's like TGV but a bit slower, and I love the TGV. So 160 is flashing, and we are going to reduce to 130 because that's the approach speed into Ebbsfleet. And then we reduce finally one more time to 100 on the way in. And we're now approaching the end of TVM monitoring, half a mile from Ebbsfleet. We'll just coast it in pretty much. Should actually be down to 100 by now. Naughty naughty. Oops, just a little bit aggressive there. A little bit too much, but not enough to ruin things. Right, let's get the doors open. So to do the changeover, put your reverser back into neutral. We are going over to DC. So we hold the DC button down for 2 seconds. And you'll notice that these two lights here swapped over. The line volt went out and the MCB came on. So press the pan up, shoes down button once. The lights have now changed over again, and just press it again to set the circuit breakers. And if you put the reverser back into forward, you should hear that electronic beep. If you put it all the way forward, I find that it resets everything. You have to put it then back into, if you go all the way forward to the off position, and I'm not going to do it because it was a pain in the ass, you then have to go through the startup again. You have to go into neutral, reselect your DC, reset the circuit breakers. So we're doing okay for time though. Hoping everything's changed over properly. We'll find out in a moment. I did have a bit of an issue earlier on with this. I had to recycle it a couple of times to get underway. But it's much like any power change or the PZB transition on a German high-speed train. Once you've done it a couple of times, it's a breeze. There's just always that moment as the brakes are coming off, you're like, will it go? Will it go? Will it go? Yeah, it's going. So it's 60 miles an hour. You'll notice now that TVM is not TVM, the speedometer below TVM is now actually operating in miles per hour. If you have your HUD opened up there, you'll see that the HUD is switched over to miles per hour as well. You've got a short stretch with the double signage. That ends down here. Those signs don't apply to us, those are for traffic going off onto the line to the left there. And we are now an old-fashioned train on the classic lines. A much more sluggish machine. I'm at full pelt and I couldn't get acceleration up that hill. So the two sets of speed limits there, you only need the 45, the slower one is for locomotive pulled trains, we don't need to worry about that. And a much more pleasant doorbell sounding AWS on this train, some of them do. I have to occasionally remind myself of speed limits along here because this is like the third or fourth time I've driven the line. It's the second time in this direction. The biggest thing to remember is when you change from kilometres to miles is, well, 60 miles per hour is a lot faster than 60 kilometres per hour. I've left it too late to brake, maybe. There's an accelerometer just next to the speed display as well, which is really useful. I love this train's great. I love this train. As you can see, you can lose 30 miles an hour in under 100 yards. It's quite an easy train to stop. So back outside again, and if we can find the... Again, if this was a double unit, by the way, you would want to make absolutely sure, you would want to be certain you were all the way up to the stop marks, because this platform is a very, very snug fit indeed. I can't find the information board for this platform. Oh, there it is. So we're still on time, and you'll see there's a service behind us at 15:14, and the next service behind that is 15:44. Oh, something coming. Oh, it looks like the Class 47 Appreciation Society are having a day out. I love that, the excursion trains. There's two a day. There's one in the morning, one in the evening, and it goes east along the line, and then spawns back and comes the other way. I've forgotten what my speed limits were. I've had to switch this on for a moment. I'm still getting used to this. Right, there we go. So up to 50 now. Next station is Strood. No lunchbox. Ah, for the day out. This stretch of the line feels really nice though. It looks nice. I think just because it's new, it feels fresh. So yeah, what I was saying about those signs just a moment ago before we got to the station, actually, the 45 and the 70, the lower of the two limits is for that train there would follow those, or should be following those, as it's a locomotive pool. So I think this whole stretch of track is basically 70 miles an hour. 70, 80, 90 as you head out towards Faversham. Faversham, I don't know how you pronounce it. Yeah, Southeastern, the 66 in tow, that's actually, I think, a legal requirement for an excursion train. It's like a preserved machine, a private machine. It's for when it breaks down on the line, it can be towed away by the 66. I don't know why they've not attached it to the ones on this. What I did notice though was that the excursion trains on Southeastern half the time spawned with a 66 at the lead end as well, which would be really unusual, I would think, for an excursion. So maybe that's why they've taken it off, is to stop the modern thing spawning at the head end as well. I don't know. What's really funny is when you see like a class 47 excursion train with like a 47, one of the handful of 47s still in service, coupled onto the back, and the only difference is one of them's got an operator certificate, really. I don't even know if there are any 47s left in service, but I've seen photographs taken of the sort of, you know, the 2000s, when the machine was old enough to have its own appreciation society, and several of them in museums, but there was still some of the damn things out earning a living every day as well. Tunnel sections along this end of the line, they're not as long as the one we did coming out of London. And if you want to see the braking lights, then for the moment, the braking gauges rather, then for the moment you need to put the reading light on. As I say, I think there's a patch due within days for the lighting issues. And the lighting issues, they're not massive, huge things. Not to me. This is the other one where occasionally you get sort of the daylight level of lighting persists even though the tunnel's gone dark, and it's kind of a bit jarring, but it'll settle itself down. Genuinely, that's the only sort of, I wouldn't even say I would complain about it. It's I knew about it before going in because they showed it on the stream, saying we know about this, the patch will be with you very shortly. So two things to watch out for: the reduction to 15 and a signal telling me to slow down. So let's just start chopping the speed away here. Charlie O'Brien, hello, welcome to the stream, mate. What a time to join. In the dark, we can't see a thing. Xbox, no mate, I'm on PlayStation. PlayStation, the caveat is there's also a controller hooked up to it as well. Oh, that's a red up ahead. Stop! Excuse me. So something I always appreciate, a good bit of signal action. Oh, it's 15, is it not? So just cruise it on up to the end here. We are running a little bit behind, but that's partly a signalling thing. There's not a lot we can do about that. We'll just we'll drop it. It's a little short, but it's not the end of the world. So if we now go and look at the information board, well, we're still just on time. It's predicting a 14:58 departure, but when we get to the next station, I suspect that will have slipped slightly. I think once you're over a full minute, it starts to drop back. So a bit further back, looking at the there's quite a lot of, if I find it yet, there's the contact shoe for the third rail. Reason the cab is so quiet is because the motors are back here. There is no motor noise in the cab because there isn't actually a motor under there. I think that's air conditioning equipment and what have you, but traction motors are further back. Oh, better jump back in the cab. Don't know what I was doing there, silly boy. So, oh, this is actually still a 15. Yeah, we're actually in a 15. The acceleration point for a 6 car is here roughly. Once you're on the points, you're clear of it. If you're on the 2 car set, then just beyond the signal should be okay. Or if you're on a 2-6 car, just coming up onto this corner should be alright. And it's to 20, not to 30. I'm that busy blethering, I'm not paying enough attention to what I'm doing. As frequently happens on this stream. Just appreciate the clankage of that train go by. The passing traffic sounds are actually really good. I think we're on to 30 actually, yeah. But halfway across the bridge, if I remember, is where you can actually pick it up there. So don't worry about the double yellow. The 25 doesn't apply to us because it's only for traffic going onto that platform over on the left there. Not too shabby, so we're running. We probably are now behind time. Oh, you're welcome, man. No bother. It's always good to hear somebody's got something from it. Cheers. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. We'll catch you again soon, mate. And you enjoy the rest of your day. So there we go. And the destination board now, you can see the timetable time is 15:02 and the expected departure time is now 15:03 because it slipped slightly. And it also starts to rattle off the following services. So there's actually 2 or 3 due not too far afterwards. It's pretty cool because if you're doing the whole sort of getting on and off trains, hopping from train to train thing, you can kind of hang about and see if there's something coming that you fancy grabbing. Really into these increasingly more active passenger information services, or interactive services even. Was it 20 or 30 in there? It was 30. Funny, I didn't need to keep checking it so often when I was doing this on my own. It's when I start yakking. My attention just goes, oh look, squirrel. I think this is the old Rochester station. And I think it is in fact 30 miles an hour all the way around here. Now I did this one earlier, and you can actually make the time mostly back up on the last stretch. Mostly. If you're feeling brave, you'll see what I mean. Ah, now watch, this is cool. This is something I found. That has a prompt now. Contact the signaller. I think it's connected to the signal that's immediately in front of. They've put the phones in, so if you pull up to a signal that's at red, or what have you, you could get out and phone the signaller. Contact the signaller. I did this earlier on and it actually gave me the message that it was proceed at reduced speed. So I wonder if that's something that they're maybe just sort of toying with just now. That one doesn't seem to do anything, but I was playing with one earlier on. Might even have been up at Faversham. It'll be interesting to see where they go with that in future. Right, let's get the doors locked up. Oh, I should have let my brakes out to minimum before. That's 3-4 seconds lost to the brakes. Okay, we're just going to boot it. Gillingham, I believe this is Dovetail Games local station. We stop at Gillingham, we stop once more after that, and then it's out to Faversham. It's about an hour to do this end to end with the high speed section. So it's any worries that people had. I'm speeding again, I haven't yet. Any worries people had about the length of it, I think it's maybe not the longest in terms of mileage, but in terms of the time you're going to spend on it, it's up there with the longer ones. And I haven't tried the 375s yet at all, so I don't know sort of how long. Those do look like they're much shorter services, I will say that. They're not full route, and some of them are not even all the way between Faversham and I can't remember the name of the place, Gravesend. But I mean, it's not a short line, it's not, a lot of it is fairly slow. Gillingham's just beyond the end of this tunnel anyway, so... Right, yeah, the next red signal you can encounter is actually, I think, beyond the end of the platform. So in fact, I could have probably come round there at 50 or 60 and got away with it. Of course, the 6 cars. I keep thinking I'm going up to the 12 car line. Durr. Time check. Now, the boards can be kind of tucked away occasionally. Still showing us on time. Yeah, we're going to get away on the 15:09 within the minute, so I'm doing better than I did last time. As long as you leave within a minute of the departure time, I think is the way it counts it. Where I think you lose a lot of time on this train to begin with as well is station entry. You're expecting the brakes to be as weedy as the acceleration, and they're not. They're much more powerful than when you're under acceleration. Again, one of these stations I will take my own advice and put the brake back to minimum when I stop. Rainham, that's the next place we go. Yeah. Couldn't remember the name of it. Well, that was a bit of a rubbish place for the flying camera to spawn. Yeah, I never was about a nice length. I used to play. I have done the longer runs on Sandpatch, but I find myself not. I've not done all of them, and I think I will eventually. But I mean, I used to have the old Microsoft Train Simulator back in like 2001 or 2, whenever it came out. Excuse me. By the mid-2000s, there was, I can't remember who made it. It might have been, who was it? I don't remember who it was. It might have been Just Trains, I want to say, who made a set of expansion packs, basically the entire East Coast main line, and you could sit there and drive non-stop from, you could do the York to King's Cross section in one long sit in about 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours that took. I did it once. And I never ever felt the urge to do it again. Am I speeding just now? No, 70. I could probably go to 2 hours. But then when they start making them that long as well, they're reaching the point where how much of their audience actually has the time where they're going to get to see everything at that point. Oh, I'm speeding now. Oh no, I wasn't. It was 80. Takes me a few runs to get the speed limits down to a T. I'm going to start braking though, because I can see a yellow up ahead. Although I think the red is actually beyond Rainham. It's very, very easy to accidentally trip the emergency brake in this train, by the way, so I will do it on purpose here, just as we draw up, because it took me a minute to figure out how to recover from it. I just want to make sure I'm going to be fully on platform when I do this. I want to make sure I'm going fast enough I can actually get the emergency brake in. Right. It's very easy to do that by accident. Once the emergency brake goes off, let's just unlock the doors. There's nothing you can do to stop the train from stopping. Once the train has stopped, to clear it, just put the brake back into emergency and release it. The alarms will stop, everything will let go, and you see as I release the brake to minimum, the gauges there unwind. That's all you need to do to recover from an emergency stop in a Javelin. First time it happened to me, I went through the power reset. I redid the pantographs, the shoe, whatever it was I was on at the time. I cycled it through the reverser. You know, you put it right the way back to off with the master key out. Tried going through everything I could think of, could not get the damn thing going, and eventually realised all I had to do was give that lever a little dab, and we were golden. I felt like such a balloon. Sittingbourne. Right, no, we do have one more stop to make. I apologise. That's why I'm not a real train driver. Yay. I think as well the lines are busier. This is sort of mid-afternoon. I think the lines are actually a bit busier at peak times too. I'll have a look at maybe some rush hour time stuff in a 377. I've not actually, or 375 rather, I've not played with it yet, so did a few runs in the 377 on Southeast. This is going to be confusing. The Southern Rail one. I spent some time driving the Southern Rail one yesterday just to get my hand back in with that type. The Electro Stars, I think they're known as. That's the marketing department name for them. Depth spent so long time on the 8 after switching to air brake. Oh yeah, the dreaded, oh shit, wrong brakes button. I've done that. Yeah, you got to be really careful with that lever. You can save yourself a lot of hassle as well on the locomotives if you remember the slide bar makes it look like you have to go from left to right, but you can actually rotate it the other way, so you can go straight from air to air without having to go through the vacuums. That buggered a lot of people up at first, I know that. So that signal actually went green just as we went through it. The signals down here, it's pretty cool, they're connected to the level crossings. The level crossings do actually work in real time. So they come down and go up now. I am not going to attempt to do that to show it, simply because I don't know exactly where they are. And I'm not entirely certain how the system works. Like at what point it all starts to trip. I suspect, I should be doing 60 by now, I suspect that they'll be showing that off on the live stream tonight though, the train simulator, like Dovetail's own live stream. Because they usually get the game's producer, for anyone who's not seen them, it's usually on launch night, it's the game's producer who comes on, talks you through the stuff, shows off a few bits and pieces. For all the flack they take, they are actually pretty good at that kind of stuff. Again, I'm just going to pop it now. I need a bit more practice with these brakes. Oof. So the only train using that is the rail tour train, which is what, 3-4 hours away. Look at this, there's 3 trains in the next 15 minutes. That's... oh, there's one right behind us. Ah. So the signals could be for traffic as well as for the level crossings. I know some of the level crossings do work from the signals, and you'll see yellows as you approach because the gates are still up. And then it's when you pass that first signal that triggers the gates to come down, I think is how it works. So that by the time you arrive at the signal you should be seeing a green up ahead. But it's probably not sensible to assume that you're always going to see a clear signal. Especially not with the traffic running that close together. That's actually, I think, the closest I've seen the traffic running for a while. Peninsula Corridor, they had them stacked up pretty close to each other at some points. So next up for us, Faversham, and then we'll swap. We'll do something else. We could come back along the other way in a Javelin if people want to see that, or we can switch to the 375. We could drive a freight train. We could drive a rail tour. Probably not going to do the rail tour though, because that's not technically a part of this pack. That's more like a thank you for spending money on our other stuff. To me, anyway, that's kind of how I view these, like, sort of cool little things that they cross over. So we're going downhill a bit, and it's still kind of dragging its ass a little. Right, so that signal changing as we approach. I wonder, yeah, we could well be following some traffic. I almost don't want to look at the map though, because if it's just a clever trick or an illusion caused by the signals, it's a very good and convincing one. But I think I said earlier as well, I believe they do have a number of AI-only services on here as well to kind of flesh it out. So just because I can't find it in the timetable doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't exist. They pulled that trick with TGV, and I think they've pulled it sneakily with a couple of other ones as well. There's trains that I've observed that I cannot find in timetables. Ah, do you know what? I bet you were following a stopper. Oh, that went clear just as I hit the AWS magnet. Now, I don't know that we'll even get up to 90 that's posted up ahead. We might just about scrape 85 if the signals stay with us. I don't think they're gonna. Nah. Still a double yellow we've got there, so we'll cruise on at 60 for now. See what we've got coming up ahead. I should maybe have turned the distance to signal thing back on while I learned this all, eh? Oh, Depth is off back to work. Okay, my man, enjoy the rest of your day, your evening, your morning, whatever it is. Good to see you as always. Catch you again, my man. It's still a double yellow, so we're just going to cruise along at 60 here. Whistle board on the left. And the warning about a speed limit change. Yeah, that's fine. We're already at the limit coming up because of the signals. Just drop it down to 30. Although I don't have the signal distance thing shown anywhere on my HUD, this is a modern UK main line, so the signal spacing's half a mile to a mile, and there's no long signal blocks to catch you out on a line like this. And the stopping power of these brakes I've got from 30 miles an hour, I can stop on any red I can see. do have a red in the distance, I think. It's just gone yellow, I believe. So we'll arrive more or less on time. That's actually not too shabby. I'm certain we'll be on time enough to be on time on the on-time board. Oh, that was the 6-car stop just back there. Never mind. And your door buttons are over here. You don't have an SDO like you do on the 375s and 7s. You can only open all the doors at once, but I don't think the Javelin stops at any station where that's an issue. If it is an issue, it's because I made a mistake, stopped too short on time. Har har har. I think they are going to fix it to show them actually, the boards will show you them going out to other destinations. Oh, what's that coming in? That could be a hijacking target. Can I say things like that on YouTube actually? Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it finish that. It won't give me a medal because I've done that already. Let's just skip through this. Right, how do I get over there? Because I'm having that. This looks promising. Yeah, I'm out. Now that sees it terminates in Faversham, so I wonder if that's one of these AI services that's designed to just arrive at the right time. Nope, don't have permission. No, come back! Haha, like a ninja. I'm pretty sure that shouldn't happen. It's going. I'm fairly sure there's a safety interlock or two not properly modelled though. Alright, I picked the one that's got the window pillar in the way. Awesome. Let's try here. Oh, this is pretty good actually. I feel like I'm sitting a bit too high up. Is that whatever this thing is over the window? That's the destination board debris, isn't it? I feel like I would want a seat that's like this. This could be quite a good one. Yeah! Well, that's alright, eh? If this was more realistic, though, none of those panels would be properly lined up anymore, and the seats would be like really wobbly and loose. There'd be at least one seat back like permanently hanging down. Oh hi, we can get into the driver's cab. Cool. This is ace. I've never actually done this before. Why have we got skis? No, they're not skis. Okay, that's emergency equipment of some descript. Oh, betty that's something to do with... It's made of wood, so it's something to do with the electrical stuff. I'm fairly certain. Oh. I'm in an audio odd spot. Oh! Wait then out. Oh, you bugger. I can't get the free camera when I'm not the driver. Damn. That would have been ace for getting a look at the level crossings in action. That's somewhat annoying. Oh, look, stuff I didn't read. CTRL, which is obviously the what's that? Continental Tunnel Rail Link, maybe? Channel Tunnel Rail Link, that's it. Continental Tunnel, what the hell? Channel Tunnel Rail Link. Max speed, 210 network rail, right, okay. Instructions for something that doesn't actually work, I think. Here mate, what does this button do? Nothing, the AI overrides it. But there is now forever an inaudible alarm going off in that cab. Or an unstoppable alarm going off in that cab. Right, I think that's enough nonsense. Let's go back to the menu and see what else we can do. I want to play with a 375. How are we doing for time? Oh, 4 o'clock, right, that's fine. Right. So we want this one. Now there's two. This has got the wee paintbrush icon, which means that there's two possible choices here. I think one's maybe... I don't know what the difference is, but one of them has 200 services, one of them has 117 services available. But they both appear to be the same thing. I don't know if one's a single unit, one's a double maybe. So, I'll tell you what. So let's see what's occurring. There's quite a lot of services there. So see, like you've got all these services that are like London to or somewhere to London, but you actually only drive the stretch between Faversham and usually Rochester or maybe Gillingham or somewhere like that. And you got these ones, these wee short sections here, because these are trains that are sort of joining and leaving this stretch of the line. Gravesend, I think, is another one where they sometimes go to. So it's not full route with these trains, and some of these are, oh, it's depot moves. And some of these are ridiculously short, because the Victoria trains presumably leave the line at that station, that second station. So I can see quite a lot of these probably never getting done by me. See what we can do back from Faversham. I think the furthest you can go from Faversham is maybe Rochester, by the looks of it. Let's have a look at the. I'm sorry, I'm seeing all this for the first time as well, so this is all new to me. This is the one with 117 services. Seems to be variations on the same thing. Seems to be a lot of variations on the same thing. They're all going east. They're all going. Oh no, they're not. I think I'm just talking rubbish again. Right, we'll have a crack at this one. I'm assuming this is, to all intents and purposes, the same as the 377. Brian Ferries always makes me chuckle a little. Platform on the right, I presume. Everything seems to be the same. Yeah, did get all of those, that's fine. Where are we going? We've got London, Victoria. I wonder if Victoria is on the passenger information list. Oh, they've added a whole load of stuff to this. Ah, cool. Slightly different equipment fitted here to what's in the 377, but it looks largely the same. Actually, I shouldn't have done that. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to hold the doors open, I think, until you get the green signal now. I'm sure that's what they said in the last stream. Because what you're supposed to do is you'd actually sit and hold with the doors open at this point. I always close them just to be on the safe side. because you see it trips that objective complete thing. But aye, we now have to wait for the red to clear. Yeah, I did set that up, that's fine. Well, what's the speed limit actually? Initially 15. Now, the speed set bug doesn't move. That's unfortunate. I wonder if that's just this one, or if it's both of them. This is a two train sets together. It's going to take a bit longer to get out of the speed zone, so there you go, we're all the way up to the next set of signs before we can really pick it up. I'm not going to hammer it. Oh, there we go, it's gone green, the signal ahead of us. Well, I picked my moment to hit the camera there, eh? Want to see if the speed set behaves properly. On the normal HUD, nope, we don't get a speed set bug at all. So there's something not right there. That's fine. I mean, you can drive these by hand quite easily. Actually, it's not so much that I use the speed set to control the speed. I set it as I go into speed limit areas to remind myself what the speed limit is that I'm supposed to be doing at any given time. Right, to get rid of that again. Okay, pick it up a bit. So Tainham, this is not, most of these stations I have never attempted to stop at before, so I've got no reference points, no idea platform lengths, none of that jazz. And I am kind of going out on a limb here and just assuming that the braking performance is going to be exactly the same as the Southern Rail one. Yeah, that's pretty good. Right, so this should just be about long enough. Yeah, it's a tight fit, but if we go right up to the end, we can open all the doors. So you got all release and you got door release. All will pop, all of them. Door will just do the first train set. In fact, I'm aiming for the end of the platform and not the 8-car stop sign, so I'll just demonstrate this. So if I press the one that says door release, you see on there only one row of doors is opened. If you hit all release, it pops the second set and the first set as well. So we're kind of we're on time, but it's going to be it's going to be neat. Fairly long stops as well, actually. I'm surprised. I thought these would have been like 30 seconds. I wonder if that's just for spacing, traffic spacing and stuff like that. Love that. So they're lovely detailed cabs, these. I really like and I like they're nice trains to drive, this and the 7-7, but it's just a shame they're not that good for sightseeing. I mean, I understand that is a deliberate feature of the design. You want the driver's attention to be ahead, not wandering all over the place, but ah well, never mind, eh? Oh dear. Sorry, I'm going all quiet. I'm just, do you know what? I am really enjoying this this route. Oops. This is definitely one of my favourite day ones so far. Tell you what, I'm kind of itching to drive a Javelin again though. That thing is brilliant fun. So we're running quite early actually. We've got 4 minutes to do this last mile, unless I'm... That's fine, that'll give us a bit of... I'm not speeding, am I? No. Just seems like an awfully generous timetable, that's all. No complaints from me. So from memory, about 175 yards. If the platform shorter than that, you can't open all the doors. You need to do the front set only. So by the looks of this, I think sitting board's quite a long platform. If a Javelin can get on, we can get on. Bags of room. And loads of time as well, so let's go for a walk. Let's have a look inside first, because I've not done that. So, oh, it's, yeah, all remodelled on the inside, or retextured on the inside. That's fine. Although it's fair to say this is not the star attraction of the DLC. Let's grab a wee map. So we are here, and we're going as far as Rochester. We're going, yeah. Let's see what else we can find. See if we can figure out what any of the other collectibles are. We've got a couple of minutes. Newspapers. Oh, no comedy headlines on these ones. Guys. That's all right. Everything else is awesome. We'll let it slip. Don't know what that's supposed to do. I take it that it's just been given a kicking by somebody. Or it's like, mind you, have you ever seen the passenger lift at the one at Waverley Station? The screen is so smeared with just crap and rubbish and dust that that's kind of what it looks like anyway. There's a goods train standing to over there. I hadn't noticed that when we came in. What's that? I thought I saw something on that lamppost. Maybe not. No, I do not want to give up the train. Don't really have much time to go over to the other side now. Get round here. Well, that's kind of cool. Right. We really should think about getting back to the cab. Closed up. It's about 6 or 7 seconds I think for the doors to close, and you can see on the screen up here the lights all turn blue, so you know straight away when they're changed. Still on the 90 section of the line. All is well. That's new. Not seen one flashing before. That's something I will now need to go and look up. I'm going to assume it's not significantly different from what it should normally mean. This trip could come to a very unexpected end shortly. Wonder if the flashing is something to do with the crossings, maybe? We'll treat it as a normal yellow signal for now, because I don't know what's happening now. I'm literally fumbling in the dark here. There could be a valuable teaching moment right around this corner. The brakes on this thing are pretty decent though, so I'm not too worried. Come on, where are you? Okay, that's fine. Oh, junction. That'll be what it is. I'll look that up, but I think it's because it's a junction. Or I could just be connecting to totally unrelated things that happen to coincide with each other. That's also possible. Do you know what? I think I'll just watch the live stream tonight and hope that they see something. Because they're usually, especially Matt Pedalston, the guy who's the producer, anybody who's not seen them, is actually pretty good at explaining on his live streams what they don't always do a great job of in their manuals. I shall also be hitting up the Googles, looking for the flashy signals after this. I probably have read about them a long time ago, but I don't think we've seen them before in Train Sim World, so I've just never concerned myself with them. Sweet. Alright, let's go for a look-see. I think I saw a collectible back down here somewhere. Hello GamerBus319, welcome to the stream. First day of high speed, or Southeastern high speed. I've been calling it the wrong thing all this time. First day, it's absolutely bloody brilliant. Love it. So that's still predicting an on-time departure for us, that's good. That may change, because this collectible I thought I saw might be further down than I thought. Yoink. Run, Forrest, run. Man, I'm getting knackered just watching this. Okay, we're good. Right. Onwards and upwards. Dearie me, tell you what, I am so going to be playing nothing but this for the next quite a while, I think. Certainly off stream. Hell, if I do stream, it's going to probably be this as well. Let's not be kidding. This is awesome. It really is really good. I mean, there's a couple. Like I said, I found a couple of minor sort of annoying things, like the what do you call it, the little pipper thing for speed set not tracking properly on the speedometer on here. Mildly annoying, but that's fine. The solution is I'll just drive it manually. I could do with the practice. And a couple of minor annoying things with light levels in the Javelin cab, in particularly to do with tunnels. It's nothing huge that I've found though. And I have to say, the enjoyment I'm getting from it so far outweighs the "oh really" moments by 1,000-fold. If you like passenger stuff, commuter stuff, you're going to enjoy it. If you like high-speed passenger stuff, there's stuff in there for you as well. It is admittedly not a huge part of it, but it's a big part of the Javelin experience. I'm certainly going to get my 25 quid's worth out of it. That's absolutely certain. And if you have Northern Transpennine and you have East Coastway already, then you get obviously you'll see the heritage trains. There's a freight train as well, but you'll have all that stuff to use in the potential for the scenario creator. Actually, this is the one that might actually get me having a nosy at the scenario creator. You can make some really interesting stuff. You can make yourself some interesting stuff to look at going by as well. Stick a simple livery on a TGV and bang it on the HS1 section as a Eurostar, something like that. I don't know. I definitely feel like this is value for money though. It's beyond question. So we don't have as much time here, so I'm not going to actually get out the train. I'm just going to fly the camera. This is the nearest destination road, so we're still on time. That's good. The next train's actually not for... It's a wee while then, after that, then there'll be a couple of trains arriving in fairly short order, so... yeah. It looks nice. I didn't think I actually was going to like that colour scheme, but now I see it, I do. I thought the yellows and the pinks and I thought the pastel bits would be awfully garish looking, but now I actually see it. It's no bad. That sign 90, right, that's fine. Sorry, I am going to continually be pulling that up to remind myself of the limits till I learn this line a little bit more. So I wonder if that, back in the menu, the two different choices for the 375, I wonder if one of them is the two train car set and the other one's the single train. The single train set, or the... I'll try that again. This one is the one I selected specifically for the double train set, and the other one with the 200 services. I think maybe that could be the single train set unit. That's something that I will have a bit of a dig into. Like I say, first time I'm seeing any of the 375 stuff at all. I haven't done any of this yet. Hi Samson, welcome mate. It's a good one. Which one is it you don't know how to drive? This particular thing or the other thing? Or either thing? Because this thing's a piece of piss. It's a 166 with no engine noises basically. If you can drive a 166, you can drive this easily. The Javelin, right? Do you know what? I really want to drive the Javelin again, so I might well do another run in it. I'll go the other way, Faversham to St Pancras. I'll do the DC to HS1 changeover. I'm loving the Javelin, absolutely loving the Javelin. The Javelin's actually, I'm not going to say it's easy. It's not as complicated or horribly difficult as I thought it was going to be, though. I thought it was going to be like all the worst, most complicated bits of TGV and ICE3 mashed together, and it's really not. It's the best bits. In fact, it's the best bits of TGV and something like this. I feel like there might be another Javelin trip in the near future before tea time. This 375 is a 377. It's not markedly different to what we've had before. That's fine. I'm totally fine with that because the amount of stuff there is to do in this, there's loads, and it's a nice train to drive. But it's you know, we've seen it. I think the Javelin is the nice shiny new one that I'm certainly dying to spend more time with. I don't know how far we've got to go actually. I don't think we've got all that far. I can't remember which one of those upcoming junctions is where we finish up on this. Oh, I just got away with that. Ooh, spooky in the dark. Put the offside cab light on. I don't like the overhead one, it's too bright, but I'll put the offside one on. So this 50 coming up has a 30 right behind it as well, which was signposted on the way into the tunnel. Actually surprised that, I mean, I'm not doing perfectly for time, but I thought I'd be 2 or 3 minutes behind by now. because I'm still very much feeling out where the speed limits and things are. As you can see, I've decided to needlessly complicate matters for myself by not giving myself the any clues with the signalling system. But it's fairly predictable on a UK mainline, modern UK mainline, which is good. And these trains are really clear instrument panels. You can see everything you need to in order to drive them without the without this wee felly down in the corner on. If you have the means to shut that off and you wish to do so, this is an ideal route for doing it. Some of the routes, some of the trains rather, the gauges are just too difficult to read to be able to use that, particularly some of the German ones. And some of the older British ones, the gauges are just spread out so far around the cab that I find it impractical not to have the speedo up. But this route, heaven for that kind of thing. Like the weathering as well. They've got this down to a fine art. I mean, that they used to look like they'd come off of somebody's Hornby collection, new out the box, you know, whereas now they look like trains that have spent a long time running around urban railway lines, suburban railway lines rather. Very, yeah, I like it. I'm impressed that we're getting good at that. It's not a major thing, I know, these days. It's just a detail that a lot of people would expect to be there, but I don't know, I still like that kind of thing. There's still a lot of games don't do that sort of attention to detail. All adds to the immersion. If you're the sort of player who the first thing you do when you play like a first-person video game is try and see if you can work the taps on the first sink you can find, or see if the vending machines do anything. If you're that kind of player, this is a great route because there's so much clickable stuff I've found, like the phone boxes and things. I might try and use the scenario planner thing as well to see if I can test my theory about those signals. There's a javelin from the other way. They've nailed the passing traffic sounds, I think. No complaints about the sound or anything like that so far, so don't be fooled into stopping at this platform, by the way. This is not the platform we're looking for. This is so cool, I love this. There's all these wee stations bunched up together and things. Such a good mixture, this. I mean, you go from this like really quite sort of slow, twisty-turny suburban railway to slid a little bit further than I wanted to, and the first set of doors are just off all cocks. What was I saying? Yeah, nice mix of stuff to do. You got this. You will go in the javelin when we do this in the javelin, because I've just decided I'm definitely doing that. You go from this like 30-mile-an-hour section at one point to, you know, the fastest revenue service train in the United Kingdom by the end of it. It's so much fun. Oh, yeah, that's it. That's as far as we were going. Perfect. Right. Once more, but with feeling, huh? And faster. So that took us about 40 minutes to do just that wee stretch. It will take us a fraction of that time to cover that amount of ground this time. So we'll go back to the main menu. I've now been driving for 2.5 hours solid, so I'm going to take a very quick comfort break as well. I shall be 2 minutes, I'll be right back. Right, okay, that's better. Right, timetable. Rerun one that I did earlier on, just because I know I can finish it. And because again I did spot something out on the line while I was doing it. Not that I was deliberately trying to coincide the timing with other stuff I'd spotted on the timetable or anything, but I totally did. So that's the one we did the first chunk of the stream, so there is already the west-east there. This one, east to west. The 377 liveries, I don't know what they're called. I don't like if they've got names and stuff. It just looks like a sort of generic Southeast livery. We'll probably see one actually fairly shortly. There is one standard livery though that's applied across all of them as far as I'm aware. The 395s are all standard apart from one which has the Trainbow livery on it. But it's tied to a specific a specific unit. You have to get I think it's 395012. There's like a 2% chance of it appearing in the spawn on any go through. So we're starting at the Faversham end, which is the DC end. So again, you've got a couple of minutes at the start, so you've got time to go through this. And again, if you go through the tutorial and just scribble down as it tells you what you're doing, because you're not under any time pressure. And there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7 steps written down altogether. 8 if you include a couple of scribbly things in the margin. So to begin with, master key to on, pull the reverser back to neutral. We want to put ourselves in DC mode. Now watch these 2 yellow lights up here when we do this. So we're going to go into DC mode, hold it down for 2 seconds, right? And then what you do is you press this button underneath pan up, shoes down. Press it once, Press it twice. Now, I was expecting stuff to happen on the dashboard there, which didn't actually happen. So, I think it might already actually be set up, because those lights should have swapped over when I did that. So I think it's already in DC mode, perhaps. We'll put the lights on. Safety systems, French ones are in here. That's your KVB and your TVM. And up here is your DSD and your AWS. Oh, I've reset the entire train. What a dingle. Right, I need to go through this again. So now those two lights are on. Pantograph up, one light goes out, press it again, and then into forward. There you go, we heard the beep. Right, I did something wrong the first time, but we went through it again quickly. We got it reset. You hear that little beep, and that tells you that it's clicked over. You can also check your HUD. Your speedo should be reading miles per hour. Right, we can get underway. What's the exit speed from here? 60. So we're not stopping until Sittingbourne. When we did it in the 375, we I think stopped once or twice before we even got there. Straight off into 75. Didn't get the train roll this time either. Horns down there if you want to do it with the click spots and stuff. Like that. So clicking your joystick in will sound the low horn, and then you can just grab it and drag it up for the high. Very difficult to do in some locomotives. The click spots are really clunky and a bit sort of, you know, there's a delay almost between it having to finish one animation before you can do anything else. That's not an issue there. So it'll take us about the time it took us to do that run in the 377. It'll take us. I don't think it'll take us that long to get to Ebbsfleet, to be honest. At most, it takes around the same length of time. I think I might actually have gone over the 75 a little sharpish. Yep. And this is also we're a 2-car set this time, so you just need to be aware that the back's going to take a bit longer to cross into any new speed limit zone you enter. Another thing on this speedo that you can't really make out very clearly is you can see just where the accelerometer is. You see there's the arrows next to the number that show up and down. You can see something on the screen in between the number and those arrows, and that is Mph and Kph. If the top one's lit, the speedo's running in miles per hour. The bottom one is showing its kilometres. You'll see it swap over at Ebbsfleet when we do the change, but that's one way to tell at a glance again what mode you're in. So I don't think these screens, there's no functionality at all to any of this, sadly. Putting the power back in, because on a gradient on the DC, this thing ain't such a beastie. The gradient we're on just now is only 0.5%, and at full power I can't accelerate. Now on the overheads, it's a completely different machine. It's brakes. The brakes on the DC are good though. It's a bit of practice and you'll be quite confident with the brakes. I've said that I'm going to go through a red signal now, is almost a given. But there we go, full brakes actually pretty sharp. So from a little over 500 yards out, I can get down to 30 by the time I'm on platform nearly. And you can lose that last 30 miles an hour in just under 100 yards. In fact, you can do it comfortably under 100 if you give it full boots. See, if I give it full braking from 100 yards out, I'm going to have to maybe let the brakes out actually to make the stop line. So be confident with the brakes. Don't be frightened of them. And I'll show you the emergency brake again for anybody missed it. It's really easy in this train to accidentally knock it into emergency when you're going back through the brakes. That is so easy to do. You'll hear that alarm go off and there's nothing you can do until the train stops to stop the train from stopping. All you need to do is to clear it once the train is stopped is just push the emergency brake lever again. Once the train is completely stopped, just nudge it again and then you'll see we can release our brakes to minimum, everything starts to come off. You're good to go. Really easy to recover from. And it's something that you'll almost certainly do at least once, because when you, if you ever, the first time you panic brake, you realise that you're going too fast. There's a fair chance you'll do that to yourself. fairly quiet time of the afternoon as well. That's why we've maybe not seen anything since we left. We're actually, this is around the same time as it's around the same period of the day as the eastbound we just did. And we could see from the timetable when we looked at the following trains, there was a bit of a gap, a couple of points to the next following service. So I think the traffic levels, again, they did say this on the stream the other night, traffic levels do go up and down depending on the time of day and things like that. The DSD, because I hadn't operated the controls for a little while. Okay, Samson, no worries. You gotta do what you gotta do, I understand that. I never delete these things anyway, no matter how badly I screw things up. Gradually making our way up to 65. We'll be on an uphill again, I can promise you. Yep, nearly a 1% uphill. One changeover. You have to set it up at the start, which by the time I've done this, there'll be, well, technically three instances of me doing it, because I had to do it twice at Faversome because I cocked it up the first time. But the changeover and the setup are actually more or less the same procedure, and it's quite easy. You're sitting still when you do it. You know, loads of time to do it. It's a fairly quick process, and the tutorial, the introduction to the 395 actually talks you through it. It takes you from, I think, it starts you at the one we just let. No, it starts you at Gravesend, I think. Or it starts you at Raynham, you go to Gravesend, and then you stop at Ebbsfleet, do the changeover, and then I think you take it one last wee section. But the tutorial's actually not bad at all, and if you've got a pen and a bit of paper next to you when you do it, you can make yourself a very quick impromptu checklist until the manual becomes available in about an hour and a half's time. Slowing down too much. So there's the 375. They're all in the same livery. I didn't realise there were lots of different liveries actually for these. They actually look not too different to ScotRail. The colour's a bit lighter, but otherwise it looks very like ScotRail has for a very long time. Or did for a very long time. Minus, of course, the big sort of white saltire flash thing at the front end. So I think we do Raynham, Gravesend, and then Ebbsfleet will be the changeover, and then you stop at is it Stratford International? Is it Stratford? No, it's not Stratford. It's somewhere else. Stamford, I think. It's the international station that's never seen an international service. I think I'm still being too timid with my brakes, to be honest. I think that's why I'm losing a bit of time. I need to be harder and later. Fnar, fnar. So 2 car sets, so do make sure to run it all the way up to the end of the platform as well. There we go. The safety systems are over here. The French ones, KVB, TVM. And over here, the only ones you have to turn on are the AWS and the DSD. I've not touched, in fact I don't think you can even open that cabinet. I've not tried, I don't think you can click any of this stuff actually. No, these are all just sort of for decoration. The one there you can press, unit hatch close. That's the clamshell on the front you can open and close. I don't know where the open button is though. And we don't have a lot of time left here. Only takes 3 or 4 seconds for these doors to close as well, so don't be smart and shut them when there's still loads. Start the procedure when there's still loads of time left. Gillingham, I forgot about that one. I think this one, I think Gillingham is maybe Dovetail's local station, I'm sure they said. I don't know what a track circuit operating clip is, but I wonder if it's something to do with the thing I mistakenly identified as a ski. It's a decent enough sightseeing cab in terms of the view, sort of off to the sides of what's directly ahead. These sort of slit windows on the side though are pretty wee. I think I turned all the safety systems on for the first time within a couple of minutes of this stream starting. If you want to see them being done, or honestly, I suspect tonight they'll show you all this stuff on their own stream as well. They're getting really good at doing that kind of thing, turning the launch stream into almost a tutorial for the extra stuff. Do you know what, I'm using my pad for the first time in ages so I can have the head look and things on. I keep going the wrong way on the power handle. It's just a single combined handle on this train, so it's not that overly complicated. The once a day freight train. I think there is more coming from the freight side of things as well. I was too busy admiring the freight train. Was that a double or a single yellow I just passed? Should probably start wazzing the brakes on just in case. I think it was a double. Yeah, there's a yellow up ahead. We're fine. Thank you, Rent Strike. I was just aware as I passed it, oh crap, that had yellow in it, but right, let's ease this in. We're doing okay. As long as the information board says I'm on time, I'm on time. I think that's like a signalling control centre there on the left. Right, so this is one of these platforms. There's not a lot of room to play with there, so don't draw up short. There's a few like that with the twin car, the twin sets especially. Oh, since I was right, liking Sam nice. Yeah, I see. I totally get what your point was about the abrasiveness occasionally, but honestly, I think he's been the best thing that's happened to them. Um, you and I certainly can remember the old days where the live streams were, and I'm not having a go at anybody. I think this was just these are train enthusiasts and programmers who needed maybe a firm hand. But there was an awful lot of, oh yeah, we want to add this, we're definitely putting that in, and oh that'd be great, and then nothing ever happened from any of it, and it was, yeah, they needed a Sam. I think the other one, I think, Natalie, she's really good as well. And it's highly entertaining watching somebody learning the game from scratch live on the internet. What's the other guy's name? Jamie. I like how he's always got some stuff prepared for the history boards and stuff when it comes to the streams. I quite like the little team they put together. Hey Depth, yep, still going, man. I'm absolutely loving this. There's no reason why I wouldn't. I am getting quite hungry now, so this is probably going to be the last trip of the stream. But I bloody love this javelin, so I thought let's just keep going. Right, this is the other wee niggly issue thing that needs looked at, is the backlighting on these gauges. I think that's in the first week patch, though, I'm pretty sure. They did say there was a couple of issues with lighting that they were aware of. We could have stopped. We would have stopped there with room to spare. Believe it or not, it looked really tight, but I have tested that already, not intentionally. Does it go back and forth throughout a portal? They go to Faversham and then disappear off the end of the line, I think. I've not tried to do a turnaround and drive back, if I'm being honest with you, Samson. I'm still at that point where it's, oh, just shiny new, just jump straight in, I want to drive it, I want to go, I don't want to sit for 10 minutes at a station waiting for the next service. I think service hopping will be quite easy though, because the passenger information service boards are awesome. We'll have a look at one in a minute. Again. Oh, that's the first bit of stutter I've seen. That little bit I got just there. So, drone camera, let's go find ourselves an information board. I think it's, is it tucked away up here or is it up the front somewhere? I think it might be tucked away up here. Here we go. So, we're still on time. Services behind us are the 1533 to London Victoria and the 1538 to London Charing Cross. That's awesome, I love this. So you could in theory sort of go, do you know what, I mean this is the last station I think for some of these services before they go off the map, but the potential is here to sort of hop off a train at any given point and go, do you know what, I'm going to grab the next one. Or we could have got off that 375 I was driving before and theoretically just caught something going the other way. And you know exactly when the next couple of trains are coming. You could, in theory, sit and bugger up the whole network. Because if you're not moving, nothing else is moving. I don't know at which point it hits critical mass and can't recover though, because it does rely on traffic spawning into the... I think there is stuff coming on and off the map via portals and what have you. But yeah, I mean this is a working timetable that we're running on, mate. It's a 24-hour schedule, so if a train stops somewhere, everything else will stop running, and it'll back everything up. Going to be honest, I've never tried to deliberately break the system to see how badly I can snarl it all up. I've done it unintentionally a couple of times. And these signals, the sight and distance I've found on the signals, as long as if it's red, as long as you brake as soon as you see it, you've got a stopping time from 30 for most of them. So again, don't be tempted to be fooled into stopping at this platform. Oh, we've got a red signal up there. Good job, I noticed that. And it turns yellow as we approach. This is what I love about this, is it feels like it's a busy railway. I don't know if that's just an illusion being created, because I know the signals are tied to the level crossings and things now. I don't know if these are just clever illusions being played to make it seem like it's a busy line, or whether there's genuinely shitloads of stuff going on around me. I'll figure that out the more I play it. But I feel like I'm driving on a a railway that's got stuff going on around me. I don't exist statically on this railway all by myself. Nice. Get good at this game, haven't I? Yeah, I did that while you were away, Depth. The train we drove out to Faversham, I managed to jump on one as a passenger coming back, and I hit the button and it just kept going. Bloody alarm didn't stop though. That got jammed on. Right, we've got a wee minute or two. So here's that. Oh, incoming. Again, clickable phone there. I click it, nothing's happening, but I have found other ones where I clicked it and I got the message clear to proceed, restricted, etc, etc. So that's cool. It's intriguing. I'm fascinated what they're going to do with that. Imagine that something like, I mean, they've got Clinchfield coming up, which is going to be all freight. Imagine having to actually climb, or being able to climb down from your cab and actually phone the signal box on a freight yard or something like that. So I see things like that somebody probably just went, oh, wouldn't that be cool to have something to click on, and I'm totally over analysing it. I'm also heading back down to the cab now. I've just realised I've got not as much time as I thought. Dynamic weather, oh yeah. I think they've already prototyped it. I think they described it as, but there are a couple of scenarios that have already been released that have got sort of scripted dynamic weather. But I think, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to see that appear at some point. This is so cool. And yeah, submarine over there. It's an old Soviet submarine that somebody bought with the intention of turning into like a floating museum. And now it just sort of sits there rotting away because it's had no maintenance done on it for like 20 years, 30 years. Well, I should also be doing 20 miles an hour down here. Oops. Naughty, naughty. If we'd been a bit further down the line and we'd been under KVB, that would have been painful. Oh, I love all the clicky buttons. Useless clicky buttons they're great. They're awesome. And I'm not being facetious. I know that sometimes I've been really sarcastic about this kind of stuff before, but I do really enjoy just the. Oh, my absolute favourite was the hot plate on the 20. You turn it on, it heats up, it lights up. It's brilliant. Oops, I accidentally just put my reverser into neutral. I hope I've not caused myself any problems doing that. I shouldn't do. As long as you don't, aye. As long as you don't switch it off, it should be okay. Oops. Clumsy left thumb there. Not used my stick for my pad for a while, eh? I was, thought my cursor was active. It was not. I failed. Let's see if we can find a timing board. Still on time, lovely doubly. You see quite far from here as well. The onboard sort of destination boards, that's automatic for you. See what's coming on the other platform. So the next train along here is not for another 20 minutes. And you've got 3 in quick succession. Right, this is where I find out if accidentally going into neutral buggered anything up or not. Man, it's more stops than I remembered, which is fine. It's still 15, eh? Aye. Honestly, it's not learning the train that's the hard part. I find it's the route. It's the tricky bits of the line itself that take me the longest. I find I can usually adapt to a train fairly quickly. So you need to let this run for a little bit because we are quite a long unit. I just kind of take a guess at it if I'm being honest with you. 15-20 seconds, that's probably enough. I should sit down and work it out if I'm determined to drive them like this, because that's probably a thing. Easily clear by now though, so not to panic. I wonder if those big longer 8-car sets for the 375s, I wonder if those basically use the same stations as the Javelins maybe, and the shorter ones go to the in-betweeny stations? Who knows? Ah, the old traction motor fans as well, yeah, those make a great noise. Don't think they've got any practical use, but yeah, I quite often don't do it so much on the stream because I think the noise is so loud from them that they would make it impossible to hear anything else. But I like turning those on a lot when I'm offline. The noise is just incredible. I love the 155, really do. Desk light on, the reading light on, so we can at least see the braking gauges and stuff. Your windscreen wiper controls are down here. There is a control switch for the gauge light, the desk lighting, the gauge dimmer sort of lighting, but it doesn't actually work when you turn it on, so there's nothing clickable on the computer monitor either. I've tried. A manual electric engine, yeah. That's such a good way to describe it. It's I like unusual and different. I think that's why I've decided I like the Javelin so much, because you'll see once we get to Ebbsfleet and Changeover, it's almost like a different train. Yeah, I'm sure this is the first bit of the introductory service that it gets you to do for the 395. check me remembering class numbers that quickly. I'm getting good at this train thing. Oh, it's like a canal, or so. Is that a canal? Not uncommon to find those near railways. Oh, this is such a good train. No cruise control of any kind on this, so there's no temptation to use it like the 375. I would like them to fix that that little problem with the speed set dial though, just because I find it useful as a means of tracking speed limits. So Gravesend, is Gravesend actually, we're not in London yet, are we? No, we're still quite far away from London. Like, am I right in thinking Ebbsfleet is basically like where London starts for all intents and purposes? I should really learn more about these things. Actually, I'm going to take it up to the end just because of the, I can't remember how long the platform is. Let's see how much room we gave ourselves at the back. Ah, fair bit. Sounds about right. Close enough, I'll take it. I'm not going to get out and explore every station in detail because everybody wants to do that for themselves, and I'm trying to keep to a timetable here. I'll be quite pleased if I can keep to timetables on my first few runs. Not going to lie. So we're still listed as on time. That's good. My first attempt at this route, I was already 2 minutes behind, and then I had a massive problem at Ebbsfleet. I fucked up the changeover, and I lost about 3 or 4 minutes figuring out what I'd done wrong. I think I know what went wrong this time though, so fingers crossed this will be okay. If not, we'll learn together. The moment of truth approaches, because the next stop, Ebbsfleet. And then I cannot overstate just how much it feels like a different train once we swap over at Ebbsfleet. probably cleared the zone by now. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, we signally up ahead just gone green for us as well. So we're gradually speeding up. Just for reference, for the upcoming high speed section, we're not yet doing 100 kilometers an hour. It's taken us quite a while to get this built up. So now we're doing 100. That took 30 seconds at least because I'd got a DSD, which meant I hadn't touched a control. And then it's a fast junction. It's a 60 mile an hour switch. Right, I'm going to bring the HUD up for a second so that this is a bit more obvious what happens here. We'll get ourselves nice and up to the end of the platform first. Okay, you don't actually need to use max brake, I just happened to bump it off the stop there. So, once the doors are open, put the reverser into neutral. We now want to swap over to the channel tunnel rail link settings, so hold this down for 2 seconds. 1, 2, and then what you should notice is these two lights up here swapped position. That's when you let go of the button, when those two lights swap position. We're now in high speed settings, so we press the pantograph up, shoes down button once. You'll see these lights come on. You press it again and that closes the circuit breaker. Back to forward, or reverse it to forward. You heard that little beep? That means you've done it properly. If you fuck up and put the reverser all the way forward to the off setting, you need to put it back to neutral and go through that process again, as I discovered. You'll notice that the speedo's switched over to kilometers now, and the wee pip here has moved down to the kilometers one as well. So we're now in high speed mode. All things being equal, we should move off without a problem now. Brakes are coming off nicely, power's on, and we're underway. Nice. TVM is now on. Hey, boys and gamer. No, I'm on. Yeah, you're right. I'm on PS4. PC releases in about an hour's time, I think. So just for comparison's sake, there we are, up to 100 kilometers an hour already, just about. Yeah, I know we're going downhill, but the performance difference is not inconsiderable, and we can go up to 130 at this point. So this is kilometers now, not miles. You can set the game up so your HUD display on the screen here won't change, but the in-cab stuff's automatic. To be honest, can't understand why you wouldn't want everything to be synced up anyway. It just gets too confusing otherwise. So there we go, up to 225. This works exactly the same way as TVM. If it starts to flash, it wants you to start slowing down, and the only difference is the numbers. It goes 225 down to 200, down to 160, down to 100, down to 80. It can go down to 130 from 160, but that only happens on the way into ebb sleep, apparently. So yeah, I'm good, man. I'm having a great time. I've got Southeastern high speed. My day's perfect. But thank you for asking. I hope you're doing well as well. The reason for the different release times, I can't answer that one, is simply Sony and Microsoft put new releases out at midnight, and they always have done and they always will do. Whereas Steam, they can control the releases, and they've always released Train Sim stuff at tea time. So that's when they release it on PC. I think if they could, they would release it late on for everybody. But the difference is basically, I think the Steam thing is because Steam update there is at midnight, like San Francisco time, which is like quite late in the day our time. In fact, now that I've just said that, I'm remembering that I've actually been told about the Steam thing before. It's to do with the Steam store updating at San Francisco time or something like that. Because that's where Valve are. They did explain it all once on a stream a long time ago, but there is legit reasons. They're not just arbitrarily putting it out at different times on different platforms. So that's just DSD checking in with me, because we don't have a lot to do on this section. We still toil a little bit on the uphills, but I mean we're chuntering along at a good 130 something miles an hour just now. Stratford International, that's the place that I got the name of wrong half a dozen times. I think there is 373 or 374. I don't know what they've actually got planned, but I know there is DLC planned. There we go, 140 miles an hour. Hey Ratifus, welcome mate, good to see you. Been having a grand old time with the new toys. This feels proper fast after the after doing the first stretch on the classic lines. It's weird going the other way. It feels even more jarring going from this to the slow line. The changeover, I should have said by the way, the only difference in the changeover if you're going the other way is you press the DC button instead of the CTRL button. Oh, speed in. Trim that off. So if I remember rightly as well, this tunnel you'll see the other example of the daylight shaders on the cab, but it's a very short stretch of tunnel, and I think it's due to be patched out within a few days. 465 releasing for Southeastern. Ah, right. Going to be honest, man, if it's not a train that's in Train Sim World, I probably won't know it. I'm not that good yet at non-Train Sim World trains, believe it or not. I was concerned as well that long tunnel sections were going to be a bit, but turned out not to be that way. The tunnel's well done. There's only so much you can do with a tunnel, but the train itself is just so much fun to drive, and even in the tunnel, you're still driving it. A lot of lines, like the big long tunnels in Northern Transpennine, you often just got up to speed and then coasted through. Whereas you're still very much tunnel or not, your hands on with this, and they're long enough to not be. They don't outstay their welcome. I mean, I realise they're part of the route and they can't do anything about it, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be in terms of the tunnel situation. So get down to 200 in the first instance. It's flashing more, so we'll get ourselves down to 160 is the next step down. Wants us to slow down further, so we'll take it down to 100. I know it's always 100 on the way into Stratford. I wonder if that's because we're going off onto a set of points against the step down to 130 that you get on the way into Ebbsfleet. But well, it's like everything. It's like all these routes. Once you've done them a few times, you build your knowledge up. You learn what to expect. Getting brave on the brakes. It does it does throw me ever so slightly, the switch over from one to the other, but this is where learning how to brake as much visually as anything else comes in helpful. Like, don't do it just by zeroing in on a number up here and a number down here. You know, learn how to gauge. Come on, click spot. Learn how to gauge your braking by what you can see going past the window. I'm not perfect at it, but my timekeeping's a lot better since I learned to do that. Okay, you boys in gamer, enjoy your rest of your evening, or your day, your morning, whatever it is. Thanks very much, always appreciated. And we'll catch you again, my man. And I think I should still be shown on time. I'm pretty certain I am. Where the fuck are the boards? I think I've gone past it, haven't I? There we go. Ooh! Expected 15:58, so I am no longer running on time. Shit. Right, watch this go. Charge! Yeah, here's the mashed up light in a wee bit as well. You can see it stays lit up for just a wee bit longer than it should, I think. Could be the stretch of tunnel in front of me has that. Or have we passed all of it now? So next stop is St Pancras, and we need to watch because we're going to swap over to KVB shortly. Now it's saying go 225, it's going to slow us down again pretty shortly though. And you have to be absolutely certain you're below speed limits when we swap over to KVB, because that'll stop you. If it don't like what you're doing, it goes no monsieur. I don't think we'll get anything close. We're not going to get anywhere close to 140 going through here. There we go. We're being told to slow it down already. So I'm just going to come out the power a bit. Because I think that's going to be a continuous slow down, slow down. As long as you're not going over 200 when you reach the next one, you should be fine. But then it's going to immediately pull us back down to 160. So there's the flag. So we can actually hold at 200 for a while. I should have just gone with TVM. That's what I get for being a smart arse. Thinking I know better. Right, now it's telling us to slow down. So 160 by the next flag. Slow down further. I'm going to assume it's down to 100. And then once we're off of TVM, we need to get down to about 80, fairly sharpish. In fact, TVM might actually take us down to 80. I can't remember how it works at this end. So 100's flashing, yeah, 100's flashing, it's telling us to reduce further. Bit too far there. We must be going up a hill. TVM's telling us 80, and then we'll get to the end of TVM and pretty much straight away KVB should take over. There's the daylight section in the tunnel. Again on their list of things to fix this week. Still going up a hill, I think. Yeah. This, and there's no backlight on the gauges as you come through here. There should be backlights on the brake gauges, I think. So you have to be sort of awake as you come through here, because you go straight down to 60 and then it wants you down to I think 30 or 40 fairly sharpish after. The brakes will manage it fine, but you need to be awake and paying attention to meet all the restrictions, because if you bust them, you can see that little letter P that's come on the left of the desk there. KVB is now monitoring the situation and will kick your balls just as hard as PZB would if it doesn't like what you're up to. And what it's basically doing is making sure you're within 5k of whatever the current speed limit is, so just be sensible with them. I mean, at the end of the day, you can only go as fast as the signals allow you to, and you'll still get your gold medal if you're within a few minutes. Nothing wrong with the textures in front of us either. I looked it up, apparently these tracks are like embedded in concrete. It's supposed to look like that. These are high-tech French tracks apparently. Oh, ruined at the last minute by a graphical glitch. Who'd have thunk it? Like a glove. See, it's like a proper special bed that the track's laid on in here. It just, you can't see it very well from up in the platform 13. So, presumably this train has to be out here at some point. Oh, that is the Faversham. So yeah, at 60 we could sit here till 16:27. Somebody was asking it was right. I'm going to test it. I am not sitting doing another full trip because I am fucking starving. I've been at this since before 3 o'clock, I think. But what we'll do is we'll let the passengers empty and we'll see if we can do a successful turnaround. As it occurs to me, I don't really know what special steps I need to shut this locomotive down. I don't think it has all the sort of service retention stuff going on that TGV does. And I suspect half the steps you could eliminate and discover that they're there for show, which I found out with TGV. Again, not a complaint, because I enjoy the illusion. I'll just turn that stuff back off. Just waiting for the... Right, so what we'll do is we'll just take it back by foot and quickly see if we can... In fact, it doesn't even matter if I do the turnaround or not. I'm not going to bother trying to work out how to do that on the stream for the first time, because there could be stuff I don't know. But what should... Oh, shit. Right, what I was going to do was go back to free roam. I've not used a pad in ages. Do you know what? I'm used to Nintendo Switch buttons where confirm and cancel are generally the other way around. Bastard. Next, when you're playing it, first time you arrive at St Pancras, just jump out, run around the other end, see if you can take the train out. But the information service suggests yes, you can at least at one end do a turnaround and drive away, which is awesome. Don't know how that's going to work on the 375s, because they seem to arrive and depart through portals by and large. But nice to know we can do that with the javelins if we want to. Right, I'm not going to sit and go through all this again. So I'm off to get some scran before I settle down to watch the launch stream tonight. I probably will play more of this. I can see this getting streamed again fairly soon though. I had an absolute... This is brilliant. Honestly, I'm well going to get my money's worth out of... Unless you absolutely hate passenger operations in all their forms, there's something in there for you. This is the first time in a long time I would unreservedly say go and spend £25 on it right now, and you'll have a great time with it. There's very little wrong with it, and what is wrong with it they've already said they know about. Will be fixed very shortly. Pardon me. Yeah, so that's Southeastern High Speed. Absolutely cracking job. Really impressed with it, really happy with it. Think I'm going to have a lot of fun with it. That's where I'm going to wrap it up for now. Off to stuff my face. So thanks very much to those of you who sat through it, and anybody watching it later, thanks to you guys as well. As always, I had a tremendous time doing that, and I'll catch you all again soon, hopefully. But for now, cheerio.